It's time for the fourth event of the 2025 British Touring Car Championship season, and it's the fastest one in the calendar. It's our very own Temple of Speed. Welcome to Thruxton. And my beloved home track is bound to produce some kind of entertainment this weekend. It is forecast to rain for most of Saturday, with a yellow warning out for thunderstorms, meaning, well, it's going to be a high intensity of rain, and yeah, it looks like it's going to be relatively cool as well. So, for example, around the time BTCC qualifying, we're talking around 14-15 degrees, as opposed to the 18 degrees on Sunday. Now, whilst there is a chance of precipitation around the times of race 1 and race 2, it's around 30%, with it being about 10% at the start of the day and 10% around the time of race 3, with a peak of temperature expected to be at around 18 degrees. Now, that could have a bit of an impact on the schedule, but let's have a little bit of a chat about what that's looking like at the moment. Starting off on Saturday at 9 AM is qualifying for the F4, followed by at 9:35 free practice for the BTCC. Qualifying for the minis is at 10:30, then at 11:15 the Porsche Carrera Cups. So we're going to have a pretty high speed weekend here as well. Then it's going to be another free practice session for the BTCC at 12 o'clock before race 1 for F4 at 12:55. At 20 past 2, the race 1 for the minis. Qualifying for the BTCC at 3 PM. And then at 4:15, the second even, F4 race. Then on the Sunday, Carrera Cup will start off the action at 10:50, followed by 11:45, race 1 for the BTCC, and the mini race at 12:25. Then we have the final race of the weekend for the F4s after the lunch break at 20:02. At 2:35, race 2 for the BTCC, 3:25, the Porsche Carrera Cups, 4:10, the minis, and 5:05, race 3 for the British Touring Car Championship. It's going to be high octane, high speed entertainment, lots of action throughout the days. But compared to other weekends like Brands Hatch, it actually feels a little bit more condensed. That said, though, the high speed circuit means that, well, we only have one tyre compound to think about at Thruxton this weekend. Whilst there is the rule that says that anybody who finishes on the podium in race 1 has to go onto the hard tyre for race 2, everybody will be on the hard tyre at Thruxton. That's because the softer tyres are not built to take the high G-force loads that you see through the flat out parts of Thruxton, or at least not designed to take them for lap after lap after lap for around 16 laps of the race. Drivers will have 5 sets of the hard compound tyre. In addition to that, they may carry one over from the previous meetings at Snetterton or Brands Hatch Indy. Now, whether or not they will need to, given the forecast rain on the Saturday, is another matter altogether. We could full well have a wet qualifying, and then they have 5 sets of dry tyres for 3 races. We'll have to wait and see though, won't we? Right? But there is also a lineup change happening for this weekend as well. Senna Proctor will be back behind the wheel of a BTCC car a couple of rounds earlier than he was expected to. He was expected to make his return at Croft, but due to interesting things within the BTCC rules and regulations, he's back now. What are these interesting things? Well, it turns out that the BTCC has a rule about the amount of times you can change who is driving on a particular TBL. These are the TOCA licenses, a bit like the charter system if you're watching NASCAR or IndyCar. You can only change them twice. And since we ended up seeing the change at Team Virtu last time out, that meant that they couldn't change back to Michael Crease because, well, if they changed back to Michael Crease after having previously had Ryan Bensley behind the wheel, then Proctor probably couldn't get behind the wheel of the car at the next opportunity that he would have had at Croft. Now, Priest will remain part of the Accelerate team and will be helping out around the team as well. It's, an interesting thing that has happened in the world of the BTCC and an interesting interpretation of regulations. Now, if we throw it back to last year, this was a good track to be a BMW driver. Jake Hill, following on from taking the first 2 race wins in Snetterton, did the same in Thruxton. Race 3 was won by Ash Sutton, who got a podium in race 1. Tom Ingram got 3rd place in races 2 and 3, while 2nd place in all 3 races was taken by Dan Camish. So it ended up being a relatively balanced track. Colin Turkington was 9th and 7th and 7th. Josh Cook, behind the wheel of a Toyota, was 5th and 6th and 6th. Whilst, when we have a look at other BMW drivers, for example, Adam Morgan was 8th and 8th and 4th. So, it's seemingly anybody's game, especially if it's not going to be particularly traction dependent. If it's going to be tyre wear dependent, it depends on how much the front wheel drive drivers are going to be burning through those tyres in the slower corners, because you're going to want to be saving them a little bit for the high speed stuff. Either way, as always, let me know your thoughts, let me know your feelings in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching and joining, folks. Until next time, it's bye for now.